Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? I wanted to just see if it's like just Courtney. I felt really bad because I think it's just because she's in the car. But I felt that you guys watching it just wouldn't be having a fun time. So Courtney, I am so sorry. But
What what
what's
happens
your name?
is John. I go
Hi,
by Dr.
John.
DP. John's
Hi.
fine though. What happens with a lot of connections is after so many seconds or so many minutes, they get bad, and you just have to
Yeah,
disconnect and reconnect.
got you. So if Courtney is watching this, I apologize so much. I think the poor thing was in the car, but I
Right.
saw that you were waiting to guess. Courtney, we'll have
Oh,
to just finish up. Do you want to? What do you want to talk about?
I just wanted to welcome you to the platform. I think and commend you for what you're doing. It's great. Without
Oh,
asking any questions about what's going to happen in this case, I was going to ask you, since you're studying it, I was just going to ask you a question about the Georgia law without getting into
okay,
this case, so we don't
sure.
talk particularly about this one.
Mhm.
Do they have a law about assisted suicide where they would charge an individual for egging someone into a suicide without talking about this
Yeah,
case at all? Is that even
that's
an
actually
option
yeah.
for somebody to be charged without talking about what they're going to do about this one?
That's actually a really amazing question. Thank you for asking that. They in Georgia, assisted suicide is not a state law at this point.
Right,
However, there are loopholes with elderly people or people that have certain medical issues where you can go to a doctor, and if humanely done, however that's defined, you can start that process. They call it the right to die law in some
right.
states. I know Massachusetts has it because we're incredibly liberal. The thing that from my what I got, because I actually thought of that very same thing that you. That's why it's an excellent point. Right to die versus suicide. For some reasons, a lot of people who are against suicide or against feeling that people have a right to die are trying to not allow this to happen. They're the people that believe that suicide is a right, are for right to die, are for assisted suicide. The people on the opposing side think, like the Terry Schiavo case. I don't know if you remember that case where she was like a vegetable. And her parents came in because they were very religious, and they said, well, our daughter's still alive. We're going to keep her alive, even though Terry herself had written out something that said to her husband, if I ever get to the point where I can't function, I want you to let me go. Do not listen to my parents, do not listen to the government. I do not want to live. This is not a life. Eventually he won because it was her wishes, but it was quite a battle. In Caitlyn's case, in my opinion, from the investigation that's going on, from the police that I've spoken with, ultimately, sadly, she made a choice. Um, and that was her right to do that. In terms of the people that were, bullying her or perhaps talking to her during those last few months, as much as we want there to be some sort of responsibility placed on those people's heads, translating that over to actually filing criminal charges, I don't see happening. And
Right.
that's why I was trying to. I'm trying to. I don't know if you've watched my channel or watched any of my videos that I've done, but that's why I tried to be as honest with people and saying you have to keep your expectations low in this case, and that's heartbreaking because you watched Caitlyn's streams, like her videos and things.
This is the first time I've actually heard anything about it. I just looked up some of it, and
Yeah.
it's actually the first time I've ran into you, and I've looked up a little
Oh,
bit
good.
about it. And I'm glad to see you doing this, and I was welcoming you to the channel. I'll go ahead
Thank
and
you.
get off here and let you carry on. I asked because
Yeah.
of the similar situation where the girl had just got charged in another state where they
And
had a
that's in our state,
right,
the cell phone, the texting, right? The texting suicide.
right,
Yeah,
right,
that's here in Massachusetts too.
where she had
Yeah,
spent all day on that, and that's a
Right.
whole different case, and there's pros and cons there and all that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I won't get off on all that in a whole different subject. I just wanted to see if.
Well, thank you, John. I mean, that's actually a really important question, and that was actually the first thing that I thought about. You know, you can watch Katelyn's live streams on YouTube if you just look up Katelyn Nicole Davis live stream, and
Yeah, there's actually a site that has everything up there,
Yeah.
which I have no desire to watch the whole thing, but
it's hard. It's
and-
hard.
And for the people that don't know, just because somebody pulls down the stream, or just because Live Me and YouTube have taken the streams down, and just because she may have posted something and deleted it herself, a server is required to keep anything that has been put online for 2 years. Anything. If you delete it, it's still on the server for 2 years. The FBI is required to, it requires them to keep it. They can go in and pull anything you post, whether you deleted email, stream, whatever. It's on that server for 2 years.
Wow,
So-
so I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So they have access to everything she's posted
Yeah.
and deleted or anything. They can go in and all that stuff can be pulled up and pop up at any given time during the trial.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I really appreciate you being here. I mean, it's definitely a case that the reason that I'm encouraged to talk about it is because there's so many young kids, all they have is social media.
right.
You know, you and I don't know, I'm 36, I don't know, you know, but when I was growing up, if we were depressed, we got on our bike, we drove out in the middle of the street, sat by a tree and stared into wherever, you know, and now kids do have the opportunity to talk to the entire world, and it can be amazing and bring amazing things, but there's this other side of it, like the dark web side, where there's like creepypasta, and there's people that, these kids like glorify ways to kill themselves. We can just log onto a computer and people are saying, if you're having a miserable life, you can end it today. This is how. And you'll get tons of likes for that, and you'll get tons of attention for that. And that's scary to me. You know, because it's becoming more and more common.
They've even got this blue whale game thing going on. It's horrifying.
Really? What's that?
A blue whale challenge.
Yeah.
It's like a suicide challenge thing. It's really stupid, crazy, and
Yeah.
I even hate to bring that stuff up. It's crazy.
We have to talk about it. That's the whole point, because I think if you watch Katelyn's, you know, streams, she didn't have anybody to talk to. That's how this whole thing became an issue. She went into a live program very much like this. She talked to strangers, and she was dealing with serious issues, you know, depression, and it got to be too much, and I don't understand how, and again, it is her right, and that's why you made a really good point.
Right.
If her life was that bad, technically she has a right. You know, if it's too hard for herself to say, I'm done. It's so sad, but how are there people that were watching that on that live stream, which I've seen the transcripts of, they were typing it. It was a 40-minute stream from when she, you know, put her computer down to when, unfortunately, she hung herself. And nobody did anything. Nobody called a cop. Nobody. It blows my mind. It's become entertainment for people.
Nobody even got a mod. I mean, somebody should have got a mod, and a mod could have done something from somewhere.
Yeah. You know, and even if somebody's a complete nobody, just the idea that people can log on to something, or people, that Katelyn would even feel that she had no other way out than to do this, that this was the only way she was going to get that attention or that freedom. Again, maybe I'm being selfish by saying that that's heartbreaking, and she shouldn't have done that, but
exactly.
I don't think she
some
wanted
people
to
egg people on, and I didn't see that one, but that's what I'm saying. Everywhere there should be a law that when you egg somebody on, you get something.
Yeah. And I think that's a big issue in this case too, John, is that they like you said, they have those transcripts from that final chat, and there were people egging her on, and people were trying to go after those individuals to press criminal charges. which I get. But at the same time, it's like then every time someone who has left a hate comment on my channel, or an individual that's been, sending me or threatening to harm me for covering this case, every single time I say something, I have to report it to the police. I mean, is that what our world is coming to?
Well, I mean, if they finally start making some type of rule and enforcing some type of thing where the trolls get some type of fine where it's no longer a fun thing to do. This is like throwing eggs at houses is what it is.
Yeah. You're right.
Then maybe they'll quit throwing so many eggs. Right now, trolls find chats like this and they come in and they throw eggs.
Right.
They get a response and they keep throwing eggs. This is the modern throwing eggs. This is egging and toilet papering houses to them.
Yeah.
They come in, they throw eggs, they go off and they laugh, but they don't realize the eggs they throw end up ruining people's lives, and that's what they do. Right.
And in this case, sadly, a 12-year-old girl somehow got it in her mind that, this is going to be her last hurrah. And if kids want to go out, this way, they'll get a lot of attention, and it's sad. Because I don't think, I never met her, I followed the story, but I can't believe that she truly wanted to go. She was so young. And I just think it was the pressures of social media and her just feeling like she had no way out. And I see that getting worse.
Well, you get at a low point in your life, and I've been at a lot of low points, and it doesn't, it's a fine line edge.
Right.
It's just a fine line edge.
And I mean, look at this. Like, we never met before, and we can talk about stuff that we have in common. So social media can be used for amazing things. Why is it that we, as like a culture, tend to veer towards the negative? Why is it that, instead of using this for the good, why do we use it more for the bad? Is that just how we are as human beings? That's what the majority of us want in entertainment is. We like to watch destruction. We like to watch, when media we have these terrorist attacks like every week now. That's the thing people want to see.
It's been through the ages. You get a bunch of people in the Coliseum, you put people in the middle, and you get them to fight each other. You get boxing matches, you get car races where they have wrecks.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
People
true.
like destruction.
Yeah.
You get a car wreck on the freeway, what happens?
Yeah.
Everybody slows down. They don't slow down to get out and help. Very few. They slow down to see
watch.
them. Right.
Yeah. And that's the point that Courtney was making too, is that the people that are actually invested in this case, it's half people that are actually invested for, credible, legit reasons, and the other half it's just people projecting, or just getting in because they're bored or whatever it is.
But you have to look at everybody that invests themselves in the case, because a lot of times somebody that's really involved will invest themselves into the case almost every time.
Right.
Almost every time.
Right.
But I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah,
you have a great day.
Thank you so much, John. It was nice meeting you. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. Take care.
Hopefully.
Yes.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.